Welcome to the January 2021 Star Wars Canon Update. This past month, we got the start of the High Republic era with 2 books and a comic, along with 4 other comic issues, so let's dive in. I've talked pretty extensively about Light of the Jedi by Charles Soule. It tells us the biggest picture story in the High Republic so far, telling us about the great disaster and its consequences. I love it to death. It is one of my absolute favorite Star Wars books, checking all of the boxes of what I was hoping it would be. New characters, a new threat, and a familiar yet fresh-feeling galaxy. Some people might not be ready to move beyond the Skywalker saga, but I have been wanting this for a long time. I've missed the days of Star Wars Legends and long series of books like The New Jedi Order that got to really expand the galaxy and offer something new. Light of the Jedi is exactly that. I've done a full review video on it, and I will link to that in the cards if you want to hear more. A Test of Courage by Justina Ireland offers some of that, but on a smaller scale for a younger audience. I thought it was fine, basically how I feel about the Star Wars Adventures line of comics. It's a good Star Wars story, but it's not written with me in mind, so it's not the kind of Star Wars story someone my age tends to look for, and that's fine. It's great for a younger fan, but if you're in your 30s and you're trying to decide if you have to read this for the High Republic, I would say you don't, at least not for now. The characters will be moving into a more prominent young adult story soon, but I have to imagine that book will tell you everything you need to know about them, and I will say it's one of the better middle grade books I've read for Star Wars. Surprisingly dark at times with some heavy themes and good characters that I'm glad will be back. If you want to pick up either Light of the Jedi or A Test of Courage for free, you can check them out on Audible by visiting www.audibletrial.com/StarWarsExplained or by clicking on the link in the description. Wrapping up the start of the High Republic era, let's get into the first comic issue by Cavan Scott. I liked this quite a bit. The main character, Keeve Trennis, is very quickly likable. It feels more targeted at my age like Light of the Jedi, and it certainly builds off the novel. I think this is going to be a really fun read to hold me over in between the novels, and hopefully it bridges the gaps in satisfying ways. It's also hard to review one issue of a comic, because it's like reviewing the first chapter of a book, but I'm sufficiently intrigued by the characters and plot, and I also think Ario Anindito's art is some of the best Star Wars comics have had in years. And so let's stick with comics and move on to Charles Soule's Star Wars issue 10. The Rebels are trying to create new communication codes that the Empire won't be able to break, and a Lobot gets some time to shine using his implants to help an ancient protocol droid adjust. We also meet Starlight Squadron, a group of mostly familiar pilots who are going to deliver those new codes, which includes not only Wedge, but a bunch of comic and TV characters like Lulo, Shara Bey, Yvonne Verlaine, and Mart Matin. But the squadron gets ambushed and Lobot starts to be unable to control his circuits and the droids at the same time, so the stakes are pretty high. And the droid seemingly broke Lobot's implants' control over him, so he could potentially get his life back. A lot happened in this issue, and I'm very into it. If you haven't read the Lando comic yet, which is very Lobot heavy, I would highly recommend doing that before reading issue 11, just to get the full picture. The 9th issue of Greg Pak's Darth Vader run continues to do what it's been doing so well since it began. The first arc connected Vader with the past and the prequels, and the current run is connecting him with the future and the sequels. He defeats Ochi of Bestoon, learns about Exegol, and they head off to investigate what the Emperor has been working on. They reach the Red Nebula and a massive space creature seemingly guarding it. I am so into this. I didn't love The Rise of Skywalker, but I do like the way Pak is connecting the originals to the sequels, giving us some more badly needed context and answers, in my opinion. Alyssa Wong's 7th issue of Dr. Aphra was okay. Again, it has a lot of connections to other stories, which I like a lot. Aphra meets with Sana Starros and Lady Proxima on Corellia to find a lead on some Nihil technology that she's been hired to find, but she catches the attention of another Corellian gang on the same trail, the Unbroken Clan. So we've got connections to Solo, the High Republic, and the Bounty Hunters comic. I like all that, but I'm kind of iffy on the arc right now. I feel like we've been in transition mode for a while now, and I'm just waiting for it to get more interesting. I want Aphra to stretch her historical muscles more like she did in the last arc, but I can be patient. Bounty Hunters issue number 9 by Ethan Sachs was the final comic of the month, and while I was iffy about that first arc, this one has been pretty great. It's differentiating itself more from The Mandalorian, and it's making me like Valance as a character more than I ever have. Not only is the action fun and exciting, but it came in pretty strong with the feels this month, revealing that Tonga is still alive. She was shot in the back by Boba Fett and left for dead 5 issues ago, but I'm glad to see her return. Valance is currently trying to save some rebels from Dengar and what's left of the the Yonaka gang. I guess the plot actually didn't move forward a ton this month, but the action was great and I really like Paolo Villanelli's art. But those are all the stories from January. I'm awarding Story of the Month to Light of the Jedi, which I don't think will come as a surprise to anyone who follows this channel. It's an amazing and exciting new expansion for the Star Wars universe. In February, we're continuing our journey into the High Republic with Claudia Gray's Into the Dark and 2 new comic issues. On top of that, we have 6 more comics, so that's a new book and 8 comic issues to look forward to. The Canon update will return on March 1st to cover all those new stories, but that's it for today. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel to keep up with all these stories as they're released, follow us on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.